Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, Donald Trump sent 2,000 ICE and DHS agents to Minnesota, and it was a busy day because I read they rounded up 150 people, and some of the still shots I saw, they were definitely Somalians. Boy, y'all don't know what you're in for. And one woman was unalived, and I was looking at the footage. I'm not gonna show it because it actually shows her getting shot. So, it looked like it was a white woman. Now, you only saw, like, a little glimpse of her in her car window because she had it down, and I could see, like, her hand, and I think it was a white woman they took out. So, anyway, they said she was using her vehicle as a weapon. Protesting. So they are up there, they are active, and they are going after these Somalians. And I'm sure they got some Latinos because they've been going strong in Minnesota after the Latinos as well. But they are going above and beyond to go to all these fake businesses that they have set up and have collected millions of the government's dollar. Those are the places they're going after. And look like they're gonna be there for a while. 2,000, that's an awful lot. And that 2,000 is on top of the people that were already there. They already had agents there to begin with, so it's 2,000 on top of that. So, man, it is life is about to get very uncomfortable for you scammers. Let me just put it that way. So, of course, let me just, before we get started, I wanna also make the announcement that the flaxseed and aloe vera hair growth gel is for sale, 25% off. I'm just putting it up for 25% off because I was not able to list it during, Black Friday all the way up to Christmas Eve. I just didn't have all the ingredients to do it at that point, but I do now. It's all done. So, you can take advantage of the discount. So the promo code flaxseed25. All right. Sale ends January 11th at midnight. All right. And I'm sure many of you already know I have a Give Send Go set up because I have to have surgery on my right arm in February. In fact, February 18th, I'm scheduled to have my surgery. So I am taking donations because it is medical. And I already told y'all that my husband is laid off and we got our insurance through his job. And he's laid off as of the end of November. He's still looking for work, but it's very difficult out here. Right now, there's more people unemployed than there are jobs available. So it is tough on a lot of people that don't have work right now. So any donations or prayers or if just please keep me in your prayer. If you can give, please do. It will all go towards my procedure that I'm having in February. So I did pin the link in the chat, and it's also available in the community tab. So everybody, let me go ahead and let's get started. Hold on here. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Oh, no, they don't. In fact, Regina, I was looking at a video on TikTok a few weeks ago, and it was during the lockdown. I mean, not the lockdown, the government shutdown. And this woman was 1 year away from retiring. I think she was working for, like, 24 years for the government. Donald Trump, he laid her off. She was 1 year away from her retirement, and he laid her off. I mean, it was so rotten. And you could when she was speaking, it was a sister, and you could just feel how emotional she was. I mean, that was just awful. But nowadays, seniority means nothing. You could be there damn near 30 years and they'll lay your butt off. They don't care. These people are rotten to the core. All right, y'all. Thank you for the ones.
Minneapolis and Minnesota better brace itself because ICE plans to send more than 2,000 personnel to Minneapolis and the surrounding areas to carry out immigration arrests. Not only that, but Greg Bovino himself will be going there as well. Specifically, ICE plans to send roughly 1,500 deportation officers and 600 investigative agents. The agents from ICE's Homeland Security Investigation Branch will assist with investigating additional instances of fraud. Meanwhile, the deportation officers will focus on arresting immigrants in the country illegally.
So they announced 2,000 more federal agents are being sent to Minneapolis to arrest illegals and probe massive fraud. Biggest deployment of agents so far. And then we get Hilton. Does Hilton want to get boycotted? I don't know if it's individually franchisee who owns this Hilton or if this is Hilton, the corporate hotel, but they are sending emails saying that they see that a lot of the reservations are from DHS and ICE. And reportedly, a whistleblower leaked the email that was sent to the DHS ICE personnel where it states, let me get it real quick. We have noticed an influx of government reservations made that have been for DHS, and we are not allowing any ICE or immigration agents to stay on our property. If you are with DHS or immigration, let us know so we can cancel your reservation. Do we sit tight and wait for Hilton Corporate to make a statement? Or are we full in gonna I don't even want to use the word, bro. You know what I'm saying. It's Hilton next, I guess. Yes, tamale, sour cream, queso fresco. Eating like a champ. If you're in Texas, you know, DP special here. So they announced 2,000 more federal agents are being sent to Minneapolis to arrest illegals and probe massive fraud. Biggest deployment of agents so far. And then we get Hilton. Does Hilton want to get boycotted? I don't know if it's individually franchisee who owns this Hilton or if this is Hilton, the corporate hotel, but they are sending emails saying that they see that a lot of the reservations are from DHS and ICE. And reportedly, a whistleblower leaked the email that was sent to the DHS ICE personnel where it states, let me get it real quick. We have noticed an influx of government reservations made that have been for DHS, and we are not allowing any ICE or immigration agents to stay on our property. If you are with DHS or immigration, let us know so we can cancel your reservation. Do we sit tight and wait for Hilton Corporate to make a statement? Or are we full in gonna I don't even want to use the word, bro. You know what I'm saying. It's Hilton next, I guess. Yes, tamale, sour cream, queso fresco. Eating like a champ. If you're in Texas, you know, DP special here.
Hey guys, we have some news. The Trump administration has just launched one of the largest federal law enforcement deployments in a U.S. city since he decided to occupy D.C. I was there for that, and that was crazy. I mean, according to news sources, up to 2,000 Department of Homeland Security agents are being sent to the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. This includes agents from ICE and Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. The operation is planned to last 30 days and actually began quietly like 2 days ago. Officials say the mission has two goals. First, to escalate immigration arrest and deportations. Second, to investigate major fraud cases involving federally funded programs in Minnesota. Communities in Minneapolis are already reporting increased assets, more agents on the streets, and growing fear among neighbors, especially in immigrant neighborhoods. State leaders warn this could harm families and legitimate businesses who rely on public assistance. This is happening right now, and more developments are expected. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this. My name is Jared Zisser. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Substack, and YouTube for breaking news, updates, and the full story.
They say they see these daycare centers, adult daycare centers, autism centers, home health care centers all over the place. So that's why DHS has to be here, Dana, to knock on these doors and say, you've received this much money. What'd you do with it? So we'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, glad you're there. Thank you, Alexis.
So President Trump essentially just lit a stick of dynamite and threw it right into the state of Minnesota. Thousands of agents are being redirected over to Minnesota with one mission: find and arrest people. More Somali fraud is exposed, proving how stupid government leaders were acting when they thought nobody was looking. And Governor Tim Walz drops out of the race so that he can go after fraud, when in reality, his political career is deader than Kamala Harris, and he's likely facing jail time. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. As a small news station, it really helps me out, so thank you so much. As more and more fraud is exposed, Senator Eric Schmidt, who I've had on the show, announced a new bill that will immediately deport migrants that steal from the American people or seek to defraud the American government. They are so corrupt, and it is time to root out all of the corruption. And I'm so excited about all of this. Now, Nick Shirley, the young man who exposed the Somali fraud rings and the blueprint for the theft happening in Minnesota and around the country, was able to get into a budget meeting. And he said these council members, even knowing that financial fraud was 100% taking place, they still handed these crooks millions and millions of dollars. Listen to this. You wonder how you're going to pay the bills. These Somali fraudsters were literally taking millions of dollars through American airports, escaping to Dubai, legally avoiding the tax. So on $1 million, they should have paid $400,000 in tax. They paid nothing back into the system after stealing your taxpayer money. Then fake grocery stores, fake medical, fake daycares. Some of them had all three, and they knew it, and they still wrote the check. Then on top of that, these polygamous Muslims, they have one person, and then they have three other families collecting food stamps, welfare, housing, all of it. It was one giant scam that they were then teaching to each other over and over and over again. It's disgusting. Thank goodness President Trump will not put up with anybody stealing from the American people. He doesn't want them killing us. He doesn't want drugs in the country. This guy is putting his foot down. In fact, in a late night meeting on Air. Now listen to this. This is huge. This had me excited all day to share with you. Today, the White House blessed us with an incredible update. He's got it right. They are so corrupt, and it is time to root out all of the corruption. And I'm so excited about all of this. Now, Nick Shirley, the young man who exposed the Somali fraud rings and the blueprint for the theft happening in Minnesota and around the country, was able to get into a budget meeting. And he said these council members, even knowing that financial fraud was 100% taking place, they still handed these crooks millions and millions of dollars. Listen to this.
The same person has opened up. I was in one of their fraud committee meetings. So the same person had been opening up daycares and healthcare companies, and it was all a big. They had it all mapped out. And somebody from inside the government in Minnesota is still continuing to write these checks. So
and they're not dumb. They can't be dumb. right? They can't be that dumb, I guess is the point.
Well, I mean, it's possible that they're totally incompetent, or they're turning a blind eye, or they're getting payments. Probably one of the first two, but who knows, right?
Well, the thing with the money they're receiving is that CCAP money, it's tax exempt. And so they literally get like the money and they get it in cash somehow. They don't pay the women that are working there. Like there's videos of them just handing the ladies cash. And Muslims, they're able to have 4 wives. And so they're able to collect welfare on top of that. That's why 81% of the population, Somali population side of Minnesota is on welfare, because they're actually not paying the people. They're just collecting the welfare from it. And then if you go into any of the grocery stores here, they're not grocery stores. They have like 6 different shops inside of them. And they all have money transferring sites inside there where they're just siphoning money out to other countries and back home. And a lot of time there's actually Fox did a thing on it in 2017. And I actually had somebody who's going to be in my next video talking about this. He used to work at TSA, and the Somalians would literally bring in millions of dollars in cash through TSA, and then they'd fly from there to Atlanta and then to Dubai. And then because there's no taxes in Dubai, they then send that money back to Somalia. And so like the rumors of them funding Al-Shabaab, they're real because they've been able to funnel all this money. And once they go through that TSA with a luggage full of cash and they make it to Dubai, they're able to send it to wherever they'd like.
Just in a CNN, the Trump administration is sending around 2,000 troops as part of an immigration crackdown. The deployment is on the heels of a welfare fraud scandal that has rocked that state. It's also happening as Governor Tim Walz is ending his bid for re-election. Let's get right to CNN's Whitney Wild. Whitney, what are you learning?
Well, Boris, there had been criticism of Governor Walz for years that ramped up in recent weeks when a YouTuber came out in the days after Christmas and said that he had found rampant fraud in the Somali American community at Somali-run daycares. State investigators went to those daycares and found that they were operating as expected, that there were children inside. 4 of those daycares are going to be subject to an ongoing investigation. That was really what thrust these fraud allegations, which are very well known in Minnesota, onto the national spotlight. And it really became this firestorm for Governor Walz that he had been unable to shake, but was limited to Minnesota, and then became a national major problem for him. The criticism simply was that he did not do enough to stem an unprecedented flow of fraud in the state of Minnesota. Today, he is not announcing that he is dropping out of the race, saying simply that he cannot continue to do the job of the governor in the way that Minnesotans expect and need him to and are entitled to if he continues to focus in any way on running for what would have been, Boris, an unprecedented 3rd term. Here's more from Governor Tim Walz.
Make no mistake, we should be concerned about fraud in our state government. We cannot effectively deliver programs and services if we can't earn the public's trust.
But critics say he is responsible for losing the public's trust. And Boris, when you look back over the last few weeks, it is not just a YouTuber that caught national attention here. There was also a case that was announced by federal prosecutors on December 18th, an enormous, they think a multi-billion-dollar case that could have stretched from 2018 to 2024. That was another example of fraud really infiltrating Minnesota's public assistance programs. And when federal prosecutors announced another round of indictments related to that case, it was the next day that Governor Walz seemed to dismiss the math that federal prosecutors were using, that federal prosecutors would presumably have to defend. And so while in that press conference, he did say he took responsibility for it. He basically said the criticism was politicized. And so that is really the context here. Now we are seeing how far the fallout stretches. Now Governor Tim Walz saying he is not going to seek a 3rd term in Minnesota, Boris.
Well, I'm sure over the next few days, we're going to see a lot of those raids being uploaded online. So that's what I'm waiting for. It wasn't really that much today, but I'm sure over the next few days, there should be plenty of footage of what's going on up there. Because usually people will upload that stuff by the hundreds. So it's the largest raid right now in U.S. history. And man, those Somalians, man, y'all would have been better off just self-deporting and getting yourself out of here. You don't know, but you're about to find out. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate it. I appreciate the donations. So, we're more than a quarter of the way, and I am grateful. And again, if you are looking for the link, it is in the community tab. And please have a wonderful, wonderful night, y'all. I will see you all tomorrow. Shalom, family.